Good morning. It is Thursday, October 24th, 2019. We are coming to you live from the World Series in Houston, Texas. We had a disastrous time at the World Series last night. And when I say that, I mean it. We weren't able to get into the game. We sat at security for 2 hours until the fifth inning. Got there before Simone Biles' opening pitch where she did like a 360 flippy thing that would have been awesome to see. Couldn't get in because we got our tickets from the MLB and not SeatGeek. 2 hours of waiting, 2 hours of people going through my phone trying to figure out the MLB Ballpark app, which has a 1.7 rating. Should have. I wish I had two more hands so I could give that app 4 thumbs down. It was a disastrous evening.
Yeah.
We finally get inside, and the MLB representatives that ran our tickets in there to us, because our tickets were in the cloud.
Right.
So we couldn't get the tickets. Somebody emailed me tickets from the MLB. DAZN said, hey, we got you. We're got a good relationship with the MLB. We have the change-up show. We stream their rights. We can get you tickets. I was like, we have SeatGeek as like one of our main sponsors. They're like, no, the MLB, these should be client tickets. They should be good. They email us these tickets. To get these tickets, I thought I would just open them up and get the barcode. We'd just walk right in.
Sure.
Didn't know that it wasn't that until we got directly through the security to the ticket person. I open up the email, and it's like, oh, now you got to download the MLB Ballpark app.
Yeah.
So I download the MLB Ballpark app relatively quickly, by the way. Good service there. Get that. Now I have to verify that Ballpark app is linked to the tickets that we're getting. Okay, I verify that. Then I have to link the tickets from that one to the app. Okay, then I link that. Then I have to go onto the website, verify that app is me, that I linked the tickets and I confirmed it. Then I do that. Then I go back to my app where it says there should be the tickets in your wallet. No tickets. So then every human on earth that worked for the Houston Astros in the MLB last night for 2 hours was telling me how to utilize. Do you know how to turn on the Wi-Fi? They were telling me. Do you know how to reset your phone? Can you close out the app? Do you know how to do that? Yeah, I closed out the MLB Ballpark app no less than 145 times in 2 hours. I had about 7 to 8 different people trying to go through it. And all the while, myself, all the boys, Matt Hasselbeck, Molly McGrath, Adam Amin didn't go, but us, we're all standing in just a 10-foot by 10-foot area, kind of held in purgatory for 2 hours, not a single screen of the game in sight, only sounds of what's happening out there. Mm-hmm. It was a disaster. We're going to make a mini film out of this thing. Mm-hmm. And it was the day I realized that you should never not use SeatGeek. Even if you go directly to the league, you're going to get screwed. Because we go into the thing after waiting 2 hours, after having my phone fingered by no less than 45 people. After me walking back and forth while this whole purgatory thing, I let everybody walk in front of me. Hey, you go first. Hey, I'm the one that got all these tickets. I apologize for this way. It's kind of an embarrassing situation. You guys go first. Hasselbeck walks in there first, whatever. The MLB representatives start apologizing to Matt Hasselbeck, start apologizing to Molly, start offering up free drinks, free food, whatever you need. Don't even introduce themselves to us. Don't even introduce them to me. Nothing. Don't even shake my hand. Don't apologize to me. Nothing. This guy named Greg, who works for the Houston Astros, is my least favorite human on earth right now. He didn't even shake my hand. I mean, literally didn't even do nothing. They understood that this was an MLB issue, that this was their fault. Everybody agreed on the same situation here. Didn't even introduce himself to me. Only talked to Matt, which I get. Matt Hasselbeck is a very handsome guy, 18-year NFL quarterback. But he was a guest of mine. Like, this was me having these problems, pal.
It was like you were Turtle in the entourage.
Exactly.
No respect at all.
No. The guy turned his back to me at one point. And I literally walked up to him. It was like probably 5 minutes after he just didn't introduce himself to us or whatever. All of us, we were just basically Hasselbeck's entourage, which, by the way, I mean, there's worse things to be, I guess, than Matt Hasselbeck's entourage. I guess there's worse things than that. So at one point I said to him, I was like, hi, my name's Pat, and you can fornicate, apologize to me too. And he laughed in my face and then turned his back to me and then continued to talk to Matt Hasselbeck about where he could get a hat. I was like, nobody wants to buy a $90 hat right now, pal. Our seats weren't the original seats. We're in like row 34, but it was incredible. It was awesome to get in there. We get in there the fifth inning. We get a chance to see about an inning and a half of good baseball, and then the Nationals just took the top off the damn thing.
Wow.
And I think it's on record as being the worst World Series game in history. So we waited 2 hours to get into the worst World Series game in history, and then we left before the ninth inning.
Yeah.
It was a long night, terrible night. I get home, call my lady, want to talk to her about it. You know, my fiance, she tells me she's too tired to talk. post on our Instagram 30 minutes later. I feel like I'm a high school kid. That's the day. Tim Donaghy interview on the podcast. It's incredible. Let's play some Chase Rice and get this thing started.
It's the perfect occasion for a mental vacation from the heart of the nation. Not your medication. 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
I hate the MLB, and Chase Rice, I love that guy. He's absolutely magical. It's a great song. He gave to us for free, too. Good dude.
Yeah.
Joining me from the World Series down here in Houston, also SMU Houston tonight on ESPN. Undefeated SMU Mustangs travel from Dallas to Houston to take on the Cougars. Should be a good game, actually, after meeting with both coaches. I think it's going to be a really good one. Joining me at Todd McComas on the couch. Todd, you're a big-time baseball fan.
Yeah.
It was cool once we got in there.
It was very cool. Obviously, I'd never been to a World Series game before. The atmosphere was electric, especially there at the little gate area with the detention area that we were in.
We were literally in a
for the
purgatory.
first 5.
It was a purgatory area.
But once in the park, beautiful park, the people were a buzz. It was electric for 1 inning, and then the shelling began.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. We
Got
didn't
out
get-
of control very quickly.
I guess we didn't get to see a lot of the good stuff there in the first 4 innings. I guess some good stuff happened. Ty Schmidt won away with a Houston Astros hat, but he definitely was not pulling for the Astros in there, especially after that Greg guy.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, they were massive underdogs, the Nationals were, so it was, too good of a situation not to bet on them. So I did. And, hey, we've been saying it for a while.
Team of Destiny.
Team of Destiny.
Yeah.
Adnan Virk said yesterday he didn't believe in it. They just took the Astros' top 2 horses to the glue factory the last 2 nights. Like they might sweep them.
The World Series is very interesting because Foxy and I had this decision yesterday.
Yep.
Foxy canceled Michigan, by the way.
Yeah, cancel it all.
You're done.
He's
Cancel Michigan State, cancel Jim Harbaugh, cancel all Detroit sports. They stink, and Ford trucks obviously stink.
Okay, so Foxy, that's on the podcast. He goes on one of the most epic rants I've ever heard Foxy go on, by the way. There's a little bit of fire, but it's something he believes in. Last night, you and I agreed. 7th, 8th inning, I forget what it was.
Yeah.
We looked at each other because there was other conversations happening around us as the fans were just filing out of the stadium, which potentially is their last game of the year there, just walking it out, down 6 or 8, whatever it was at the time. I look at Foxy, and Foxy looks at me. I go, baseball stinks, doesn't it? And Foxy goes, baseball does stink. And then I was like, but if they hit 10 runs in this 9th inning, it's the best sport of all time.
Yep.
Turns out they didn't, so we were 100% right. Baseball sucks.
Stinks.
It sucks. It's so bad. I don't know how anybody likes it, Ty. I
Yeah,
have no clue how anybody likes that sport.
But you're letting last night's experience kind of taint it a little bit. I mean,
I
hey,
wouldn't do that.
hey.
I don't overreact.
think of the hospitality we got at Yankee Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, there's a flip side to that. There's some teams that just do it right, and then there's some teams that just refuse to do it right. Turns out the Astros are the latter, not the former.
Zito won a bunch of money from these little betting games we did during your
Yeah,
thing.
he was
where-
hot.
They gave me a Jose chant at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was for you. You're right. Yeah.
Jose Altuve just so happens to be has the same name as Jose Zito Perez,
Yep.
and they had a Jose, 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 Jose chant early whenever they were still in it, and boy, well, I guess it was like 5th inning. They were still in it, and Zito lit up. Honestly, I thought there was a time there where Zito. I actually thought you thought that was for you. I think at one point.
I was just like, what do you call, like those guys that fall in the Coliseum? I just put my hands up and I was ready to go.
Yeah, Gladiator.
Yes.
Those guys that fought in the Coliseum.
I remember the most important part.
Anyway, so that's how we feel about the Astros in the World Series. That guy Greg's the worst guy working. I don't
He's
know
the
who he
worst.
is. He's a punk.
Dude, I felt so bad, too, because there's nothing less that you would want to do than to deal with your phone and other people. You were walking around the stadium trying to get these tickets. Then we finally do get the tickets, and Greg walks up to Hasselback.
Punks me.
Because all of us were sitting back while you're doing all of the work,
Yes.
and we're just cracking jokes about it.
Yes.
Well, and the people at the window that treat you like maybe it's your fault you don't know how to use your phone. First of all, you're very good at your phone.
Yes.
And we brought everyone you could possibly want expert-wise to look at it. People from the MLB. We had engineers from our side. They flew in an engineer from Apple, I'm pretty sure, to go through it. So it was like, it's not our fault.
Well, then they told us that they can't just give us the tickets because they could see the tickets on the screen. But they couldn't just give us the tickets because the MLB gave us the tickets and they put it on lock. So nobody at the building could do anything until somebody from the MLB. And then somebody from the MLB came, and they were the people that apologized to Hasselbeck and Molly and gave them free drinks and stuff.
Dapped him up.
It was just an unbelievable situation. It was unbelievable. It'll be a mini film. It'll be a tragedy. What's it called? A tragedy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be a dramatic tragedy of the day we thought we didn't have to use SeatGeek. And instead, a nightmare happened.
Yeah.
Lesson learned.
Speaking of nightmares happening, the New England Patriots fans might be experiencing a nightmare here in a few months. Adam Schefter double stamped the single stamp that he said the other day on Get Up. He said he went out on there, which I assume he took a lot of heat, by the way, because Adam Schefter is a guy who he has to live by the journalistic code, right? Because he works for ESPN, he's a pretty high up guy, but he's an insider, so you're getting kind of shady information at all times. But I feel like Schefter does a good job of checking his stuff, right? Like that's kind of what he's known for is he's normally right when he says things. So the other day on Get Up, he kind of had what's like my like an opinion what would that be called? Like when I'm on that Get Up show and I'm just giving opinions. What is that type of title called?
A hot take?
Yeah, I mean, just anymore, it's just a take. But you know, an opinion. That's
like an opinion. He went on there as like a hot take giver. Like Adam Schefter, who's normally an insider, was on Get Up, sitting at the same desk that I sit at whenever they ask us to give our opinions on things. Right. So that's very interesting because he's an insider with facts. Not normally a guy who gives opinions on things, right? So that kind of opened my eyes. I was like, okay, they got Schefter sitting in the same seat that I basically sit in, giving opinions. So now Schefter has inside information while giving his opinion. So you kind of have to balance what you're hearing here, right? Yeah. So he hears that Tom Brady is selling his house, his trainer's selling his house, he's voiding his contract. And then on a show that is all about opinions and takes, he says, "What you tell me what this means then?" Or I think it might have been on Monday Night Football when he said it. You tell me what this means. This morning he was on Get Up, sitting in the table that I go, and he goes, he thinks that staying with the New England Patriots and playing for the New England Patriots next year is the third most likely thing to happen out of retiring, moving on to another team, and staying with the Patriots. He thinks that's the least likely thing to happen. Everything else is possible. It's like, wait a minute. So if Schefter's saying it, I think there's some real, because he had to have people coming after him the last couple of days.
Yeah.
People coming after him from the Patriots, other journalists coming after him, like, what are you saying this for? Where is this coming from? What is this? And he's like, well, I said it. And then he goes on Get Up and he doubles down even more. I'm very intrigued by this whole story because we laid it out the other day. I think the possible landing spots, if he doesn't retire and if he doesn't stay with the New England Patriots, if we're going strictly off of what Adam Schefter said. By the way, Adam Schefter said Andrew Luck was going to retire in the third quarter of a preseason game. Everybody's like, this guy's wrong. He was right. Like, Schefter is normally right. And it's not a Shefty bomb, it's an Adam bomb.
Right.
Everybody knows that because that's just what it is. So whenever he says that, me as somebody who trusts Adam Schefter's thing, I'm like, well, now we got to figure this out. Right? Go Gadget. Let's dive in a little bit. We said he could potentially go to the Titans because of his relationship with Mike Vrabel, and they don't have a quarterback. And Nashville's the city, I think, where the Titans would give him a percentage of the franchise. And Nashville's a good city. I mean, it's a cool city to be in. I don't know if it's as big as Tom Brady and Giselle would want, but I think it's like considered by all accounts a great city.
Yeah, it's a celebrity stop for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of people live there. I mean, Hasselbeck lived in Tim McGraw's house when he was playing for the Titans or something. Like, there's a lot of money down there. It's a good place. Potential landing spot. Not as glamorous of a stop, though, which I don't think Tom Brady needs, by the way. Neither here nor there. Chicago Bears, just because quarterbacks stink.
right.
And it's a big city. Big city, quarterbacks stink, could go in there and be the hero of everything. Don't know how his relationship with Nagy would go. I assume Nagy's not getting fired anytime soon. So that kind of takes them off the board. So it was just like, that was kind of a spot where like, obviously quarterback issue. Let's see what happens.
Right.
But whenever this team that we're about to say popped up in the conversation, all signs pointed to this makes a lot of sense. And that's the Los Angeles Chargers. Los Angeles, obviously it's Los Angeles. He's had a $50 million home in Los Angeles that he sold. I assume he has a lot of friends in Los Angeles, a lot of connections in Los Angeles. And Los Angeles, let's admit it, is a city, if you're getting older and you just want to be around the sun and the beach all day, that is the city that it happens. I mean, it's literally city of angels. I think there's a lot of bums as well, but it's a beautiful place. I mean, it's an absolutely beautiful place. The Chargers are a franchise that could definitely bring in Josh McDaniels as a head coach. So there's his guy that he's done a lot of work with, bringing Josh McDaniels. So now you have Tom Brady and Josh McDaniels basically rebuilding a franchise in Spanos, this family that has been at the bottom of earth for the last couple of years because they want the Los Angeles. You dummies, you lose all your fans. You can't even sell a soccer stadium. Your team is starting to stink. Phillip Rivers is driving 2.5 hours to practice every single day because he hates the move so bad. His contract is up, by the way. So this would just be a situation where the Chargers could become the team of Los Angeles overnight. And I'm not saying Los Angeles Rams fans aren't diehard and loyal, but if you get Tom Brady and another jersey in that city, it's going to be tough not to be like, oh, the greatest of all times here. Let's go ahead and check that out. I thought the Los Angeles Rams were going to make a play for Peyton Manning whenever they went out to L.A., I thought they were like, I thought for sure, like in my head, I was like, oh, they're going to bring Peyton in because it's L.A. That's a big deal. That'll be a draw. You bring in Tom Brady in Los Angeles, the Chargers are all of a sudden the favorite team in Los Angeles, not only in odds and betting on FanDuel, but also when it comes to the fans of Los Angeles. I would want to pull for a Tom Brady team if I'm in Los Angeles and I haven't had a team for a long time, and I'm looking at Jared Goff. And I love Sean McVay. I love that guy. But Jared Goff or Tom Brady, I think I know who I'm leaning towards.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a quarterback-driven league. I would not be surprised at all if the Spanos family offers a percentage of the franchise to Tom Brady, him and his trainer and Josh McDaniel move to Los Angeles and bring back the bolts of Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, it almost makes too much sense. He's a California kid too. I mean, like, you know, that there's a lot to be said about that, especially when you haven't lived there for a really long time. But
20 years, by the way, he's been with the Patriots.
Exactly. I
That
mean,
is so long.
it's a lifetime.
Yeah.
At some point, you're going to be like, or you're either going to retire, right, and just be with one team forever, which is a lot of people's dream, by the way. I just want to play for one team. I don't want to do it. Or you can be like, man, I wonder what it's like. I wonder what it's like somewhere else.
Yeah,
You know?
I think you nailed it because if he just retires, he's going to go back to California. So why not go back there and transition through your last 3 or 4 years in the league? And by the way, you like you said, you also are moving the spotlight from one team to another instantly.
And also, you're doing it without Belichick, which I would assume the conversation, even we say it, right? I'm like, Tom Brady, greatest quarterback of all time. He's also been with the greatest coach of all time, so that has to help. I wonder if Tom Brady, who seems to be just a hardworking guy, a savage, a dude who will do his job, like competitive individual, I wonder if he ever hears that and he's like, okay, so people think I can't do this without him. Maybe I'll just give it a go for 1 or 2 years. Nobody will remember if it doesn't work, by the way. If it doesn't work at the Chargers, if Tom Brady doesn't work out, if something happens, if the LeBron effect to go into L.A., you stink all of a sudden happens, nobody will even remember that. Everybody will remember the 20 years of dominance that you had for the New England Patriots. I don't know why you wouldn't just, it's almost like a flyer. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't just be like, yeah, I'll go collect like $40 million real quick in L.A.
If he were to do that, he wouldn't take a pay cut at this point, though, would he? I mean, if you said, like, they're going to maybe give him, like, a percentage of the team or something, but, like, he's been noted for taking a pay cut for the Patriots for a really long time now. He doesn't have to do that anymore if he goes somewhere else, does he?
What, Giselle makes, what, 100-some million
Yeah,
a
a
year?
lot of money.
I mean, they have so much.
I think they're in a good spot. He's had that Uggs deal for like 30 years or
Yeah.
something. I don't know how much money Uggs has given him, but it's probably more than most football players have ever made in their football career. I think he's in a good spot. I think he understands, too, that if he takes a massive amount of money, you can't really build up around him. And
Right.
the team is a big deal. Probably not only to Belichick, but also to Brady. Let's remember that Brady's probably had a lot of input on that team. Or maybe not. And maybe that's why Brady wants to leave. I think they'll give him a percentage of their franchise or work something out. Because the Spanos family has to happen, by the way. What are they going to do? Just sit and die in Los Angeles? That's what they're going to do?
I mean, they're already starting to get edged out of that new stadium, and it's basically becoming like the Rams' home stadium that they were supposed to share, and it's already kind of becoming like a, no, this is the Rams stadium. Like, you guys are
who's
playing
doing
here.
that?
I saw a lot of things on ESPN, like just on the website, talking about how like the negotiations for like splitting the time at the stadium, not so much in the Chargers' favor.
That can't be any fun.
Tom Brady shows up, though.
Yeah, guess what? It's the Chargers' home stadium.
Excuse me. Excuse me is basically what happens. Good for the Chargers, by the way, if it happens. So what's Tom? Tom and Bill just going to win another Super Bowl this year? Unless the Colts can knock him off? Or Patty Mahomes, who is supposedly coming back to practice, by the way. If they were able to pop his kneecap perfectly back into the groove that his patella sits in, I could see how this could potentially work. For me, I had a dislocated kneecap and never popped back in. It was the most painful thing I've ever been a part of in my entire life. And it's magical that he's getting back out there. Now, here's a question for us non-doctors. Is that more likely to pop out if it's already popped out once?
That's what I've read. But he's Patty Mahomes, so who knows? He's superhuman, and maybe it's better than it was before. Who knows?
What if them popping it back, like it going out, his kneecap like ventured out, saw that the grass wasn't greener on the other side, came back home, was like, yeah, we're going to stay here for a little bit. Good for the Chiefs if he can play well, but left ankle bum, had a dislocated patella that popped back into place, I guess. That still has to be pretty painful.
Yeah, can't be 100.
Kid's unbelievable, though. We'll see. Josh Gordon going to end up with the Colts?
What?
I don't think so.
But
there is
nice.
there is going to be some landing spots for him. We'll be back on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show.
When it rains, it pours. Water's up to my chin. Won't stop fighting to the very end. Many men try to reach it. Many men have failed. Well, if you wanna get to heaven, you gotta raise a little hell. And I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. Facing all the sleepless nights. Will you find me? Hope you find me. When the sunrise, when the sun.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. This is a heater. DJ Zeke yesterday caught a little flack at the end of the show yesterday. Now he's got nothing but bangers.
I'm wearing my flat guard now.
That a boy.
Flag guard.
I don't know what that means.
Is that
Flag vest.
Flak jacket.
Flag jacket.
Yeah, that's what I'm wearing.
For what?
I'm not catching any flack.
All right. That was good.
See you later, Pat. See you next time.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of flak jackets, Josh Gordon took a shot on the internet out of nowhere. He had no idea what was happening. Josh Gordon, Michael Bennett don't seem to be happy at the New England Patriots, and good for Josh Gordon. He's on his way out. Michael Bennett says he likes the team. He likes being a Patriot, but he doesn't think they're utilizing him in the right way. They suspended him for conduct detrimental to the team, he said. They're waiting to trade him or cut him till after the trade deadline, so he has to go through the waivers, so he ends up on a bad team. It's all very interesting what's going on right there because Michael Bennett and Josh Gordon, two very good players in this Patriots team, have them in the building, and they're like, that don't need them. Put Josh Gordon on IR. Josh Gordon says he's healthy. He says, I'm healthy. He actually commented on a post on Instagram. It was like, interesting. Like, I didn't even know this was happening. He's
about ready to come back.
Yeah, I thought we were. By the way, I thought I put a lot of work in to get this knee healthy. I feel pretty good. So everybody's assuming that he's going to get what he is, I guess. He's going to get cut from the team. He's going to be on IR. He's going to get cleared physically to play. He's going to end up on another team. Josh Gordon is a guy that literally makes any team better. Now, the question is, can Josh Gordon stay off the dope? Can Josh Gordon stay healthy? Can Josh Gordon stay the straight line if he's not in the Patriots organization, right? I mean, Josh Gordon has always been a guy who's incredibly talented, I think incredibly likable, just every once in a while makes a bad decision that kind of messes up everything.
Yeah.
Everything gets messed up just by a bad decision. So will another team want to take a shot on him? Absolutely. Be who you can afford to be. When you're that damn good, you can do whatever you want to do, and people will still take a shot on you. What are some teams that'll get him, though? This is the interesting thing. What are some teams that will get Josh Gordon, who will be in the race to get Josh Gordon? I said the Colts strictly because I would be cool just to have that guy on the Colts.
It would be cool. Funchess has been out, but Funchess is going to come back, too, before too long. It's by no means a season
For those that don't know who
injury.
Funchess is,
Yeah.
Funchess is like the number 2 wide receiver guy, take the top
Came from
off.
Carolina, yeah.
He's a big-time player, but he's been hurt. But T.Y. Hilton basically been doing it with Eric Ebron, Jack Doyle. Pascal has had a big-time play, but Josh Gordon becomes an immediate weapon
Boom.
anywhere
Changes
he
everything.
goes.
Yeah.
Ty would like him to be a Packer, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I think any team right now is sitting at home. They're like, due to amnesia and what have you done for me lately, probably don't even remember all the suspensions and stuff that happened years ago. They just see this incredible wide receiver that is leaving the New England Patriots mid-season that can immediately help their team. I'm intrigued by it all. The Packers would have Devontae Adams and Josh Gordon and Aaron Jones and Aaron Rodgers.
Pretty formidable.
Can they afford it?
Well, that's what I was going to ask is, at this point, he's definitely not as expensive as he was 3 years ago. Like,
what if he goes to the Cowboys?
Like, what's the going rate?
Oh, what if he goes? Here's obligatory Cowboy talk, by the way. Here it is, right here. If Dak Prescott has Amari Cooper and Jerry hasn't paid Dak, so there's probably still some cash around that they can at least pay Josh Gordon till the end of the year. Get him, Amari Cooper, Zeke in the back. They could really go on a run, especially in an NFC East that stinks.
No one's even mentioned them yet, but that's the most intriguing of all, I think.
Well, and him with a star on his helmet. It feels like Jerry Jones would be like, we got Flash. You ever seen this guy run?
You could have, like, Irvin talk to him, too, about, like...
Bringing it together.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he would be a great cowboy. He'd be a great cowboy. That'd be a lot of fun to kind of watch almost. Give Dak Prescott another weapon because Dak Prescott, all the way back, by the way.
Yeah.
All the way back,
Yeah,
that guy.
yep.
I was wondering why Dallas Cowboys fans want him. Then the other night I saw it. Saw him checking at the line. Saw him running the ball in himself. Saw him making some plays. Saw Jason Garrett not just smiling. I saw Jason Garrett wanting to step on the throat. I think Cowboys are set for at least another 20, 30 years at head coach and quarterback. That's what I was told by the internet. At least I was told that by the internet, and I got a chance to see it the other night. I mean, they're not wrong.
No, of course not.
No, they're not
At
wrong.
least not for this week.
By the way, he did look very good.
He did.
And I think if you put Josh Gordon on that team, oh my God, now we're playing the game. Now we got a guy that can really do it. With Amari Cooper, that'd be a joke. Because the thing Josh Gordon does, any team he goes to, the safety has to just kind of like just walk that way. You know, the safety just has to kind of do this, which opens up everything for the tight end, the other wide receiver. If you have 2 number ones on the field now, what can they do? They can't just shadow both of you. There's going to be an issue. I mean, he immediately makes teams better, except for the Patriots. They're like, don't need them. Get them the hell out of here. We don't need Gronk. We don't need Gordon. We don't need Michael Bennett. Get the hell out. We're still going to win games. It's insane to me how the Patriots continue to do it.
Yeah. What about the Seahawks? Too much temptation?
I don't know.
Bringing him to Seattle?
What are you saying? Because the ganja.
Yeah.
He can't go to anywhere with legal weed. Listen, Josh, we wanted to bring you in, but every other street corner there is literally just a little cafe that you just walk in and they say, what do you want? You could say everything if you really want, and they'll scoop that thing right into a bag. That would be hilarious, I think, if that's even going into the thought.
Maybe that's in his brain. Like, man, I would love to come play there, but it's like Candyland to me.
Coach Carroll, you and I both know. That'd be because he has seemed to be very, very focused on his mental health and his recovery and everything like that. He's done incredible. He's really a guy that has flipped it around. I mean, it's
a good story.
It is an incredible story. Now he's going to have the opportunity to potentially carry it on right into his next chapter, or could it all go awry? And if you end up in a city where you can just buy whatever you want whenever you want, that'll be an incredible test on whether or not he can remain disciplined and stay clean.
Do you think it'll be like a rich get richer situation though? Like when you were with the Colts and you were on those really good teams, like with Peyton, were they actively trying to pick guys up, or was it like, hey, we're really happy with what we got here, we don't need to improve?
It was a completely different league then. Right. It was a completely different league then. And that franchise, that team, that organization, whenever I just so happened to get dropped in there, they were such a tight unit already that was created. The offensive weapons were already there. It was Reggie, it was Dallas, and they were drafted. Bill Polian was a big-time go-through-the-draft guy. Not a lot of big free agents, much like the Green Bay Packers. I think that's kind of how they'd rather build the team. And then when the next regime came in, it was all about bringing in people. You know what I mean? It's like these college teams are utilizing the transfer portal. A lot of teams are just 31 kids, I think, were transferred into SMU. And they've really made they're undefeated this year.
Yeah.
And the transfer portal allows people that opportunity to kind of do that. Other people believe, like whenever we were down at Wake Forest, Coach Clausen, he was like, we believe in redshirting kids, having them come through our system and not playing until they're like redshirt juniors and seniors. So they build like a team through their program. You know what I mean? Where other people like to do that. The original Colts that I was on did not like to bring in outsiders. The next one, all they wanted was to bring everybody. They didn't really focus on doing well in the draft, which they still could have done, by the way, but they just chose not to. It's one of those things where it's an organizational decision. And right now, especially with the movement of players, I would assume that a rich get richer type situation is going to happen with Josh Gordon. I also don't think he'll just go to a bum team.
Right.
I don't know why you would. If you're a wide receiver, I don't know why you'd go to a bum team, because the reason that team's a bum team is probably because the quarterback is bad. And if the quarterback's bad, I don't want to go not catch balls.
Yeah, it doesn't do him any good at all.
Yeah, at all. And I think he probably still has a lot of football left in him. I would hope. It's a wild scene, though, to see somebody comment on an Instagram post saying that they're going on injured reserve. Like, yeah, we don't think you're fit to play. You're going on injured reserve. He's like, really? Yeah, I was just running the stair stepper here at the house. You know what I mean? Like, that is such an interesting. Like, he commented with the little seeing eyeglass. I was like, interesting. I didn't know that. That's wild to me. I don't know how that even happens, how you're not told you're going on IR. Not even a text message. I would assume you're in the training room, so they'd be like, all right, we're going to give it a test today, see if you're good, and if not, we're probably going to have to put you on IR. It seemed like that didn't even happen. He's just like, oh, really? Learning on Instagram that his days in New England are done for. That's interesting.
Yeah. Tone Diggs texted us and said the Saints need a wide receiver, too. You like that fit?
That's true.
And the Saints might be getting Drew Brees back.
Yep.
Okay, we'll go to a break. We got Sean O'Hara on the other side. Big-time NFL brain. That's not a bad fit there, huh? Good for Josh Gordon. You go from Tom Brady to Drew Brees.
Oh, I like that.
But no matter where he goes, he's going to go to a good quarterback. He has all the cards. He's in control now. That's like Michael Bennett. They're not thinking about cutting him until after the trade deadline, so he has to go through waivers. So he has no control where he go. He'll end up on some bum team. Dolphins, maybe.
Yeah.
But that would suck, wouldn't it?
Oh, I hope that doesn't happen.
Well, with Florida's down there, it's probably likely, actually.
Oh, yeah. He probably loves Miami, I would guess.
Michael Bennett's going to be a Dolphin before the end of the year. There's a little prediction. And Josh Gordon's going to end up on a good team. You know what's interesting, though? Des Bryant was going to be a Saint, wasn't he, at one point?
He was, and then he tore his Achilles. Like
he-
in the first game of the season.
That's tough. So they have looked for another weapon, a wide receiver in the recent past.
Yeah, I think that's a great fit.
Will Drew Brees be able to hold a football? Nobody knows. Coming back a week before his bye week, could potentially get 2 more weeks of rest on that thumb. With an undefeated quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater, Drew says, nay, my friend, nay. I want to try it out here just in case we have to fix something over the bye week. Let's give it a go this first week and see what we got. We'll be interested to see. Teddy Bridgewater might be hot in these trade streets as well.
Whoa.
Cam Newton. No conversations coming out of Carolina that he's potentially up for trade, but Adam Schefter said the Chicagoans are clamoring for him. They're done. Sean O'Hara on the other side. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show. Everyone's hot right now.
DJ Z on the breakthrough.
Idiot.
They ain't never seen nothing like this before.
Oh!
When I came through the front door, ask me if I should overcome. What for? Train in the trees, please pardon my sycamore. Touch burning sands, cross lands, and stormy shore seasons in the year. Ain't no channel for champions and chain no fear. Yup, the champ is here. Switch gears, we're keeping haters in the rear. After blood, sweat, and tears, and my goal so near. I see my victory so clear. I see my victory so clear.
Just spinning over here.
The whole truck is shaking because Zito is feeling himself so hard. DJ Zito on the ones and twos today on this beautiful October 24th, 2019, live from the World Series in Houston, Texas. We had a disaster last night at the game. Had to wait outside for 2 hours. I mean, when I say this, I mean, I might be painting this out to be a bad thing. It was disastrous.
Yeah, no, you're very accurate.
It was a bad situation. I often wonder if other shows would ever have to go through stuff that we go through. I don't think so. I don't think if Colin Cowherd, Dan, Rich, any of these other notable daytime, nationally, globally syndicated sports talk show hosts showed up at these games, they would have these types of situations that would happen to them. I wonder if they would have no hotel room booked for them at games from the people that they're working for. I wonder if they would have no service, no audio, no video until 30 seconds before the show starts. I often wonder a lot of these things. But then I just compress it all down inside of me and just say, well, it'll make us better one day.
Yeah, just march on.
Yeah,
One foot in front of the other.
Here's one thing I do know that I learned last night. I hate the MLB. It is the worst league in the country somehow. And the NHL is still in this country, and somehow the MLB is worse than the NHL. Baseball stinks. And the MLB is the worst league I've ever been a part of in my life. Mm-hmm. I can't wait to hear after DAZN has to deal with that, because DAZN has a little bit of a deal with them. Not big enough to get us in the building, but it's a deal with them. I mean, it was bad, dude. It was bad last night. We sat for 2 hours in purgatory at the security gate because they couldn't find my tickets because they were in a cloud. My tickets were in a cloud, they said. Couldn't bring them down to earth. Couldn't get it to rain to bring clouds down, so we just sat outside until the fifth inning. Once we got inside, though, awesome.
Yeah.
It was.
For an inning and a half, and then the Nationals just got loose with the bats. Good wood all night, and it just became the worst documented World Series game in history that we waited 2 hours to get into.
I played baseball my entire life, never laced up a skate once, but the NHL is missing the opportunity. It's such a better experience.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Yeah,
the network needs to sell it.
I agree. So
They should be flipping spots.
here we go now. Tom Brady's going to the Chargers. Josh Gordon's going to the Saints. That's an interesting thing. I got a tweet telling me that, or a text from our CFO, which is interesting, telling me that he thinks marijuana is legal in Massachusetts. So Josh Gordon has already been in Candyland and been able to avoid it. So if he was to go to the Seattle Seahawks, it would not be a torture test for the guy's discipline, who has worked very hard on changing his life and his mental health and everything like that. So the Seattle Seahawks name pops up, and everybody's like, now if Josh Gordon goes there, Russell Wilson has another weapon other than Tyler Lockett. And boy, that team gets very good very quick. And that's probably a good environment for him, too. Pete Carroll is a noted players coach. Everybody likes him except for Earl Thomas. Everybody likes Pete Carroll except for Earl Thomas and that Legion of Boom that didn't get paid because Russell Wilson got paid. I think he's only making a couple million this year, so I'm not assuming he's expecting a massive payday. Josh Gordon goes to your team. Your team's happy. That's just the way it goes. Tom Brady, apparently not happy in New England. Adam Schefter saying he's selling his house, trainer selling his house. He voided his contract for next year. Everybody's thinking he's leaving, retiring, and they said it's very unlikely that he stays with the New England Patriots this year or next year. Congrats to the Patriots on an incredible run, though, with Tom Brady.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what they're going to do this year? They're already undefeated. Maybe they make one more go at this thing, and then Tom says, hey, Bill, it's been a lot of fun. I'm going to go try to do this elsewhere. Bring in Josh McDaniels as my head coach. We're going to go run the Chargers organization for the next 3 years. And then I'm literally going to sail off into the sunset in my yacht in L.A. with my wife that makes $100 million a year. What an interesting life, man. Somebody tweeted me and said that he could potentially end up as a San Francisco 49er because that was his childhood team. And they trade Jimmy G back to New England because Bill never wanted to get rid of him in the first place. That would be hysterical.
I love that.
That would be something.
That would be absolutely hysterical. I'm not sure the Patriots would want to pay Jimmy G what the 49ers just paid him or whatever, so that contract is kind of on the hook. But that would be an interesting situation. And with Tom Brady, I assume people are going to be literally throwing the farm at him to try to get him there, just like what happened when Peyton got cut from the Colts. A lot of people forget Peyton got cut from the Colts. See you later. The same day that Dallas Clark got cut and all pros everywhere got cut, Peyton Manning got cut from the Indianapolis Colts. I got text messages from some of my OG friends that were like, yo, if you get a phone call, don't answer, man. They're cutting they just cut Peyton Manning, dude. They're cutting everybody, bro. I was like, all right, I'm just going to go to another country then. And I did. I just went to another country, lost service, came back.
Can't reach me.
Do I still have a job? Yep. All right, good news. Who else is on the team? It's just you, Vinny Costanzo, and Reggie Whitt. That's it? You cut 90 people? How'd you cut everybody? Peyton Manning was cut because the lockout was about to happen, or it was happening. They couldn't see him throw. He had that neck surgery or that fusion surgery. He didn't have feeling in his hands. The last time they got to see him throw, he couldn't grip a ball, and they owed him like $30 million. So it was an interesting situation. But Jim Irsay will remember that he had to cut Peyton Manning for Andrew Luck, who retired for the rest of his life. For the rest of his life, you have to remember that. And when Peyton Manning was cut, he was very sad, I think, because he loved Indianapolis. He has his own children's hospital in Indianapolis. But I think it very quickly turned into, oh, I'm being recruited again. Like, this is not bad at all. I think the Titans were offering him a percentage of the franchise. You had other teams that were like, just do whatever you want. We'll let you be the GM if you would like. And ultimately, he ended up with John Elway and the Broncos, I think, because the keys were given. It was a good situation. We have a great defense. We can win games. That same thing's going to happen to Tom Brady. I mean, it's going to be even worse probably for Tom Brady. Noted GOAT of football, Tom Brady's going to be on the market. Let's assume everybody's going to want a piece of that handsome pie. And I'll be excited to see where he ends up at. All I do know is that we got Brian Hoyer and Jacoby Brissett in Indianapolis.
We're good.
Well, Tom likes those guys, too.
Yeah.
Jacoby likes those guys. I mean,
We're a
Jacoby's
good
going to
team.
win a Super Bowl, but I mean, if Tom Brady wants to come back up Jacoby Brissett,
Yeah, there we go.
I mean, we don't have a problem with that. We don't have a problem with that at all in Indianapolis. Could you imagine if I said that with a straight face? If I looked in the camera like one of these pundits, by the way, was the word I was looking for earlier today, an opinion giver.
Good word.
If I looked at the camera and I was like, listen, if Tom voids his contract next year and he wants to leave, I would love for him to come back up Jacoby Brissett. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? The world would be upside down.
Was the locker room really mad when Peyton was cut, or was it just business?
Nobody was
business?
in the locker room.
So like there was no reaction.
The city was.
It was the
Let me
off
tell you
season. Dude, it was burning. I mean,
Yeah.
so it was quite.
People almost rioted.
The dude has a hospital. He has his own children's hospital. When Peyton Manning came to the Indianapolis Colts, he literally says this on thing. He said, people used to circle the Colts as a game that they knew were going to be a win. I wanted to change that immediately. He came to Indianapolis. It was a Pacer in Indy 500 city. People weren't even Colts fans. The Colts were terrible. The Colts were a bad football team. I mean, I guess old Captain Comeback Jimmy Harbaugh did some things.
One season.
And then there was another every once in a while hit or miss. But when Peyton got here, it was a basketball town and a racing town. It was not a football town. Indianapolis became a football town strictly because of beer drinking Peyton Manning.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I mean, he was a deity almost. He was our Jesus. You know,
There's a statue of the guy. So he has a hospital and a statue, and he gets cut. And everybody's like, this team stinks. What are we even doing? It's just a very interesting situation
Very
when that type of
interesting.
stuff happens. And whenever the Patriots have to move on from Tom Brady, whether Tom Brady decides to do it or not, at some point they're going to have to move on from Tom Brady. Will the Patriots come back down to earth, or will the fact that they have Bill Belichick as their coach remain almighty and they'll continue to keep
That's
moving?
going to be interesting, right? Because if they don't really miss a step by losing him, granted, they're making somebody else way better, but if their team itself doesn't miss a step, it's Belichick, right?
Yes.
It's just 100%.
Everybody knows it's Belichick. I mean, Matt Castle came in there one year whenever Tom Brady was hurt and led him to the playoffs, won like 11 games, went
true.
to
Yeah.
the Chiefs, did nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody knows that coaching staff over there is just next level, and I think that might be why Tom Brady might want to leave and win on his own, because there'll always be that asterisk. Not that it should be, by the way. Should not be an asterisk that you have a good coach. You would expect in the NFL, everybody would, but not everybody has Bill Belichick on their
Right.
side. So Tom Brady forever linked with Bill Belichick, unless he goes and wins on his own with a franchise that has been terrible, like the Los Angeles Chargers. Which
That's a great point. Changes his legacy forever, I assume.
is he on?
He is currently in the Holland Tunnel. Not great reception, so he's going to call back at 11:05.
The Holland Tunnel.
I mean, what happened?
10:05 our time.
What happened, though?
I don't know.
Sean O'Hara was supposed to come on, noted NFL Network pundit. He's supposed to come on like 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened?
He's stuck in the Holland Tunnel right now.
What was
in
he
New
doing in
York.
Europe?
Mute his mic.
You got it?
That traffic.
The Dutch tunnel, huh? That New York traffic is a nightmare.
Yeah.
That is an absolute nightmare. Hopefully we'll get him on the other side. Maybe he makes it. I don't
He
know.
was very apologetic.
Yeah.
Not happy.
Well, he's an all-pro guy that's won a Super Bowl, very handsome, and by all accounts, a guy who's got it all together. I mean, I would assume he didn't mean to do this, but New York, I mean, you just kind of get in there and you're stuck. Every time we travel to New York every Sunday night, it takes us, an hour and 15 minutes to travel 4 miles?
At the very least.
I don't know how people do it. The most educated people on earth, by the way. Everybody goes to school for like 45 years so they can get a job in New York City.
Yeah.
They live in apartments smaller than his box truck. They have to walk by humans masturbating and pooping all over themselves. And they all have to wear the same color. None of them can be happy. They go into work, they leave, and then they just have to sit in traffic all day. Or they have to get in that subway, which is a circus every single time, where you're just sweating on each other. I understand that New York City is an incredible city, and they got a lot going on, and we're very lucky to be there once a week. It's cool to feel that. But I have no idea how that's a destination living city for somebody. I have no clue.
I don't know how people have trained themselves to not feel motion sickness, because those cars, the guys will hammer the gas and go 80 and then hammer the brakes, and it's like that for the entire way there.
Yeah, you're going a half a mile, and if there is a 100-yard spot where the car can open up, it's like the drivers get so bored from just stopping all the time that they feel like they got to go 0 to 60 in that time. And then, and then not even a single thank you or apology, just like the MLB last night. Not even a single anything. They just expect you not to vomit all over their car. Maybe we're just too soft for New York. That might be it. I don't know how people smarter than me, though, who've gone to school for longer than me, are in much more student loan debt than me, think that New York is that place, the only place you can make money, though. I don't know how that is. That's quite a spin zone that New York City has done. I guess Wall Street only happens there, but it's a E-Trade. I trade stocks all day.
Mm-hmm. People say the energy, but it's like, energy's not terrible in Indy. I mean, is it worth all the extra stuff to have the quote-unquote energy of New York?
Yeah, it looks like everybody's in a bad mood to me. I don't think it's healthy mentally.
I mean, it does energize me whenever I see a guy who's about 45 years old who hasn't showered in 2 weeks just going to town on himself in a phone booth. That energizes me. I'm like, look, I could be that guy.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And then you turn the corner, you got a guy just squatting, pooping on his leg and the street, and then just walking off. You're like, oh, that raises my energy because I could be that guy, I guess. I guess that would help. There's some parts that are really nice.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, parts of the city are incredible, if you're not walking through poop and, worrying about a hobo slashing your throat. Outside of that, New York's pretty great.
People that are new to the show have no idea what that is. That was an Australian man in Memphis that talked to Ty Schmidt and the boys about the city of Memphis and how basically if they just veer off of path just 100 feet or so, they're going to get their throat slashed. Straight face said it like 7 different times right to Ty Schmidt's face.
Yeah, without a doubt, and he was 100% serious. There wasn't an ounce of, him joking or kidding in his voice.
Hey, you fool, you won't fare well down there.
Yeah, you guys will not fare well down there. Trust me. You stray from the sidewalk, you're looking at either getting your throat slashed, your wallet stolen, or you're going to get roughed up, pretty good. It's as simple as that.
All right. We're wrapping up this first hour here. It's been an incredible one. Buried the MLB. Frank Maraldo just texted me that Matt Castle did go 11-5, did not make the playoffs, though. So Bill Belichick was able to lead the Tom Brady-less team to 11-win season, but they didn't make the playoffs. Let's assume 11 wins, though. Pretty solid
Typically gets
coaching.
the job done.
Especially with Castle. That guy stunk whenever he went to Kansas City Chiefs. I'm sure he's a good quarterback, but the Chiefs just weren't the right spot for him. It's been an interesting first hour, though. Buried the MLB. Talked about Tom. Josh Gordon, Patty Mahomes' knee is somehow better than it was before.
Mm-hmm.
Did his patella say, maybe the grass isn't greener on the other side when it decided to hop out of the groove that it sits in your knee? And it was like, I'm going to come back home and just stay here forever. Or is that thing more likely to pop out? I mean, we're no doctors. I've dislocated my kneecap. It stayed out for 9 weeks. Doctor said I had to have surgery to build up the groove again so it doesn't pop out. Very interesting to see it. Happy for him. Drew Brees is back. Are the Saints going to get Josh Gordon? That'd be quite a weapon for the Saints. And Tim Donaghy's on our podcast today. Yes, that Tim Donaghy talking about being a mob boss. Cito, this song stinks. The show will be better on the other side. Sean O'Hara, you're listening to the Pat McAfee Show.
Full build up.
Yeah. Yeah. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. People want wanna talk that talk in reality. You have not seen me in action. You think the come up comes overnight. You ain't behind the scenes. Trust me, these things don't just happen. No shade at Gerald, but G's don't come easy when you tryna eat out producing and rapping. I read that contract you sent me to sign, but excuse me, I can't help myself, I'm just laughing. Hey, you tryna cut out a piece of my pie, and I ask you politely, what's it that you offer me? Yeah, I produce all my own beats, and I have no intention of losing my publisher. Yeah, independent individual, boy, I've been eating off passive residuals. Yeah, let's be professional. Thanks for your time, but I had to decline at that principle. I've been scheming up a plan. Hey, I've been saving all I can. Hey, you can call me David Rams. Hey, the way I handle these fans. Hey, we ain't messing with the old model. New era, new kid, we full throttle.
It's the perfect occasion for middle vacation from the heart of the nation. Out of your medication, 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
Yes, it is, Chase Rice. I appreciate you, brother man, for that incredible song. He is on tour right now. If he comes to your city, go ahead and check him out. It is Thursday, October 24th, 2019, 11:02, depending on where you're at in the world, 10:02, where we are currently live from the World Series in Houston, Texas, also the home of the undefeated SMU Mustangs, taking their football talents on the road here to Houston to take on the Cougars tonight on ESPN. Vikings Redskins also this evening. Vikings 16-point favorites at home tonight. I don't have a bet for this. Adam Thielen's out. I don't know how much that'll affect Kirk Cousins. I don't know if they'll still be able to slice and dice. And to be honest, nobody knows a single thing about this Redskins team. They were running sprints after practice in the middle of the season. If you ask me and I was on that team probably hates that new coach for doing that. I'm not 100% sure, but we know nothing about that team, especially with Case Keenum venturing back to the Vikings.
Yeah.
Who knows how he's going to play. 16 seems like a lot, but the Vikings could drop 50 out of nowhere. We have no idea. I'm excited for that game, excited for the recap tomorrow morning. If you're finding yourself with some time today, like an hour and 20 minutes or so, I would recommend very much downloading the Pat McAfee Show 2.0 podcast. We interviewed Tim Donaghy, the NBA ref that ended up in jail for 15 months for cooking games with the Mafia. One of the most intriguing conversations I've ever had with somebody, because this guy, and I said it in the interview, scumbag.
Huge scumbag.
Scumbag of a human. I said it to him.
Yeah.
But it's interesting listening to him talk about his whole situation. Got a movie coming out called Inside Game that debuts next Friday, I believe. And he told us Will Sasso is going to win an Academy Award.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm excited that if you get a chance to listen to it, I promise you it's worth it.
Absolutely.
It's a good
It's
conversation.
a must listen.
It is. We've been talking in the first hour about a lot of things. Todd's here, Zito's here. He's on the ones and twos. His music choice has been very hit or miss. I mean, it's... No, I mean, you just had some gangster rap music, which I'm assuming is very good for the people that are listening to this show. I assume that's probably accurate. Not Zito's fault, though. We have to play hack music. We know that. Yes. Adam and Foxy's here. Ty Schmidt is here. And Sean O'Hara should be joining us soon. A lot of chatter this morning around the sports talk pundits about Tom Brady potentially leaving New England. Is Tom Brady going to retire? Is Tom Brady going to go to another team? Or is Tom Brady going to stay with the Patriots, which Adam Schefter said is the least likely of those three after this season? They're undefeated right now. Things are going well. They've won more than anybody else has ever won in New England. He's been on the same team for 20 years, which some people would dream of doing. Does he want to see what it's like other places? Does he want to be able to win without Bill Belichick? Does Tom Brady want to take that TB12 treatment, saying that I can live forever? By the way, if you eat avocado ice cream, you do good pliability on your muscles, you stay hydrated, you use your pH level, you do all this stuff, which is the TB12 treatment. He wants to prove that he can play forever. In my eyes, that's what the TB12 treatment is. It's a fountain of youth. It's an ability to extend performance for a longer time. Not like the Roman swipes and sex. I'm talking about your body being able to last forever. So I don't think he's going to retire. I think he's going to continue playing just strictly because that's the Tom Brady brand. So if he's not going to play in New England, I don't think he's going to retire. So it leaves us one other option. I think he's going to play somewhere else. I've already said I think it's the Los Angeles Chargers. All signs point to Josh McDaniels being the head coach of the Chargers, Tom Brady being the quarterback, and the Spanos family literally offering everything they have to get the GOAT out there to play for them on a team that is currently a sinking ship in a city that does not care that they're there. It's also Phillip Rivers last year on his contract. He's not renegotiated. They have not talked about an extension. He hates driving from San Diego up to L.A. every day for practice. I guess he's still doing that. I've never talked to him, but I'm assuming he doesn't like driving 2.5 hours to practice every day. I don't care how nice that Sprinter van is. Who would want to do that? Nobody. I think that really feels like the right decision. Tom Telesco over there, GM, is a noted shrewd businessman. I mean, negotiations with the Chargers do not go well. Melvin Gordon said his holdout was a fail. He actually said that. He said it was a fail. I didn't get paid, and we stink. I mean, it's just a bad situation. But I assume if it was Tom Brady, the Spanos family would hop in and say, hey, I don't care about whatever you're thinking. We'll give him everything. Give him the entire building if we have to. Let's get this guy out there. I'm excited to find out if that's what Tom Brady chooses to do. A man who played in the NFL for a long time, All-Pro, Super Bowl champion, 3-time Pro Bowler from Rutgers University. Just got out of the Holland Tunnel, which is not in Europe, it's in New York City. NFL Network analyst, ladies and gentlemen, Sean O'Hara. Oh, boy, Sean.
Pat McAfee. How you doing, my man?
Hey, I'm great, Sean. Thank you so much for calling in, brother. That New York City traffic is a nightmare.
Sometimes it's faster to walk or ride a bike. I'm sure you know all about navigating the streets, but you know what? It's a hell of a lot easier than trying to block a 330-pound deep tackle.
I guess whenever you compare everything in your life to the fact that you were an offensive lineman in the NFL and some of the most physically gifted athletes were trying to rip your head off on a daily basis, that kind of puts a lot of things into perspective, I assume, rather quickly.
Yeah, 100%. And you're trying to do it in 95-degree heat. You know, you got sweaty shoulder pads. You know, your hands are all taped up, your ankles up. Everything's all about perspective.
The funny thing about this is, and I gave this take a couple weeks ago, you and I played in the same league, very different lives, very different jobs. I don't believe that when people say kickers aren't football players, they're that far off. We're very different than what you had to do. We're more of a specialist operation. We're more of a golfer or something like that. I just want to let you know I appreciate what you did in the football field, in the arena, and what you did with your career and what you're doing with NFL Network. Now, let's get to that big brain of yours.
Pat, before we move on, man, I gotta say the feeling's mutual. Listen, I was a long snapper my entire career, so I feel like I've always been a part of the battery. And listen, nobody has appreciated kickers, punters, holders more than myself. I long snapped in high school. I did it at Rutgers. I was the guy on third down, and when we didn't convert, trying to rip his gloves off as fast as possible so that I could steal the football. And I was the backup long snapper my entire NFL career. Listen, punt period was not a period off for me. There was nothing worse than snapping and trying to cover a kick. So I'm with you. You're definitely special people. You are a specialist, but you are appreciated.
Well, I'll tell you what, Sean. I didn't think I could respect you anymore for everything you've done, but all of a sudden, you're up for Man of the Year in my eyes, pal. I appreciate you.
All right, well, I'll drink to that, bro. Beer's on up.
Okay, Tom Brady is 42 years old, and now Adam Schefter, who when he speaks normally knows what he's talking about, is saying that out of the three options for next year for Tom Brady, they're undefeated this year. They're having another incredible year like they have had for the last 20 years. Out of the three options for next year, whether it's move on to a different team, retire, or stay on the New England Patriots. Stay on the New England Patriots, he says, is the third most likely option. The other two are way ahead of that. On Get Up, he said it, and he said it earlier in the week. How do you feel about Tom Brady, and would you expect him to want to extend his career beyond New England just so he can prove that he can win without Belichick?
Yeah, I think the least likely thing out of those three to happen is Tom Brady wearing another uniform. Ooh. I don't see it happening. I don't think he wants to do it. I don't think Bob Kraft would ever let that happen. That's just kind of me just looking at Tom Brady. And when a guy's still wearing the same damn shoulder pads he wore in high school, he wants to go on and put another jersey on? No, and I don't see that happening at all. I will say this. You ask an NFL player how much longer they want to keep playing, don't ever do it during the season. Don't ever do it during training camp, because I remember driving up to Albany on my way to training camp, and everybody's saying, hey, is Michael Strahan going to show up for camp? He might retire. We don't know if he's going to show up. Listen, I didn't want to show up. There was time, as every exit passed by, it's like, man, this is one more year. Do I really want to go to training camp? Do I really want to play halfway through the year? Nobody wants to play another year. You're banged up, even if you're a quarterback. So this is not the right time. That question is a time and place for everything. But correct me if I'm wrong. We're talking about the guy that we nicknamed Benjamin Button because he's killing back to years. I don't see him right off into the sunset anytime soon.
I love the day before training camp or first day of training camp retirements. I absolutely love it for everything you just said. Just the thought of those guys whenever they retire the first day of training camp, they literally hug their kids, hug their wife, they get in the car, they get on the road, and they're like, I'm turning right around. It is a beautiful thought. It's very interesting.
The two most petrified people on the planet are the offense and the defensive linemen because they've got to do two things. They've got to weigh in, and they've got a conditioning test right afterwards. Those two things do not mix.
First day of training camp, real nightmare. Okay, first day of training camp, the New Orleans Saints had no idea that Teddy Bridgewater was going to be able to lead them to an undefeated record while Drew Brees was resting an injured thumb. They have a bye week after this week's game. Teddy Bridgewater has performed well for them. Their team has won games. Drew Brees has come out and said he wants to play this week. Do you like that mindset, or do you think he should take this extra 2 weeks to make sure his thumb is fully healthy moving forward? Because the Saints have a damn good football team right now.
I love the mindset, and I get it. Look, Drew Brees is chasing history right now, and Tom Brady's got a leg up on him. They're both chasing Peyton Manning, if I'm not mistaken, for a career touchdown. So he wants to get back in the saddle, no doubt. But if I'm Sean Payton, listen, sometimes coaches, you got to save players from themselves. We want to play. I mean, shoot, we had guys playing with broken legs before back in the day. No, you need somebody with reason to say, look, Teddy Bridgewater's doing a great job. All right, we're not winning in spite of him. We're winning because of him. He's playing really well. The offensive line is keeping him protected. I think you give Drew another week because the important thing is not to get Drew back this week. The important thing is Drew Brees is there, and he's ready for you in November and December and for the playoffs. That's most important. Don't lose sight of that.
Sean, that's such an interesting thought. I didn't even think about all the records that he is potentially missing out on because he's missing these times. It's like Vinatieri whenever we were chasing that points record. If we didn't kick it or something on fourth down, he never would say it publicly, but I would look at him and I would know he'd be like, oh, damn, that's 3 points that we could have just added towards it. I didn't even think about it. And Vinatieri would never say that, and I assume Drew would never say it, but that's a real thing.
Yeah, you guys are running around the playbook ripping out the fake field goal plays. And it's not in this week. We're not going for it on fourth down. No fires.
How about Josh Gordon finding out he's going out on IR on Instagram? And what are some potential landing spots you like for him? If he can keep his mind and mental health going and his ability to stay off of the dope, which seems to be happening here, if he can keep going, he's a weapon immediately for a team, and he's not expensive at all. How do you feel about the process of learning you're going on IR, which is wild to be on Instagram, and then now going forward where the next destination is for Flash?
Yeah, I guess since we were talking about perspective, everything's probably different for Josh Gordon. For a lot of guys going on IR, they'd probably be devastated. For him, he's like, wait a minute, this is probably like the one of the best lists I've been on throughout my career. Think about all the other lists he's been on. So for that one, it's probably not too hard for him to swallow. But for him, I think he should be blessed that he can even play this year, that he's not done for the year with a season-ending surgery, because I saw the play. I thought he blew everything. I thought he blew his ACL, his MCL, his NFL. It looked grotesque. So the fact that he could still think about playing this season is great. But the interesting thing with this, Pat, is look at what just happened in the trade market. All right, Mohamed Sanu goes to the Patriots for a second-rounder. Emmanuel Sanders traded for the 49ers. If he ends up going on waivers and you could get him for nothing, I mean, that's a steal right there. The Atlanta Falcons could turn around and pick him up, and now basically, you got somebody to replace Mohamed Sanu who you just traded. Or if you're Jacksonville, maybe you get a little added weapon there. So there could be a lot of value in Josh Gordon if you get him for nothing.
Well, I think the reason why he probably didn't blow everything in his knee is the same reason why this is going to be very interesting to see where he goes. He's a freak. The guy is just an absolute freak of a human being. There's a lot of those in the NFL. Another one in New England. Michael Bennett has come out and said he's not enjoying his time right now. He doesn't think they're utilizing him properly. I don't know his exact quote. I don't think he said he didn't like the Patriots. I think he just said right now he doesn't think he's being utilized properly. A lot of talk about him potentially getting cut after the trade deadline, so he has to go through the waivers so he can end up on a bad team. The Patriots just have a plethora of talent that they don't even need some of the best players on earth right now, and they're still winning in Josh Gordon and Michael Bennett. What do you think about the Michael Bennett situation? Where do you think he ends up? And how do the Patriots just continue to win even when they don't even need some of the best players on earth who are already inside of their building? Antonio Brown was cut by them, by the way. There's another person. I mean, it just never ends with the Patriots. They find a way to win regardless.
Yeah, and rightfully so. With the AB cut, they should never sign him.
Amen.
But if you're, I don't know who your audio guy is there right now, but if he wants to, feel free to play Justin Timberlake's "Cry Me a River" right now for Michael Bennett, because you're gonna. Oh, really, Michael Bennett? You're disappointed with your role with the Patriots. You're not having fun. Have you read anything or heard anything about the Patriot way? I mean, that's what they do. Has anybody talked about this is fun? We're having a great time. No. I mean, everybody in that building, it is monotone. It is all business. They're not in there celebrating and having dance contests in the locker room, before and after practice. You're not happy with your role. Everybody has a role, and I think for Michael Bennett, if you sign with the Patriots, you're going there for one thing: to win football games. Forget about everything else. You're going there for a ring. He knew what he was signing up for. I'm not buying it, and I don't really care, to be honest with you.
His quote might have got taken out of context too. I mean, we don't really know. Michael Bennett, I guess he was suspended for a game or something for conduct detrimental to the team. That's insane. Let's talk about this NFC East, which you know a lot about. Redskins stink. Who knows how they're going to do tonight against the Vikings. The Giants, you guys showed a little bit of life there when Danny Dimes came in there, and then kind of water found its level right now. The Cowboys and Dak Prescott looked like world beaters this past week, but in weeks past have looked bad. And the Eagles, I don't think they have a defense that can stop anybody. What do you think happens in the NFC East? It seems like it's the Cowboys division, but anybody could potentially get hot, I guess.
Yeah, speaking of hot, this division's like hot potato. Nobody wants to hold on to it. It's week to week. Here you go. You take it. Obviously the Dallas Cowboys sitting pretty right now on their bye week, bumping the Eagles. I think the one thing is that they both have question marks. And look, nobody expected Dak Prescott to start out this year on fire the way that he has. Obviously there was a lot of question marks with Kellen Moore. I think he's done a great job of mixing that offense up. I like the way the Dallas Cowboys are built. I like the way that they're built inside out. Their offensive line is the strength of their offense, it's, respectively of their team. And look, they've found a way to win games without just relying on Zeke Elliott. So I think that bodes well. And then now they can ride him through the winter, and when November and December comes, you've got to win some road games in that division. That helps out. The Eagles, I think everybody was disappointed with that performance. Carson Wentz, he didn't look like his normal Captain Courageous in the pocket in there. So that was a bit of a surprise. Certainly some question marks, but they've been a little banged up at receiver. So, I think they'll bounce back nicely. I think the Giants, it's been a disappointing last 3 weeks. You mentioned the Patriots game. Everybody thought they were going to get blown out, and next it's 14-14. But I thought this last game against the Arizona Cardinals, that was about as disappointing as it gets. And not just the fact that they lost the game, but how they lost the game. It was pouring rain. Pat, I was at the game. I mean, it was coming down in drenches. And before the game started, I went over to a couple of guys, and I'm like, it's a great day to run the football. If only you had one of the best running backs in the league. Oh, wait, you do. Saquon Barkley. And yet they threw the ball 40 times. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I don't understand why coaches and offensive coordinators are addicted to the passing game. When you've got a guy like Saquon Barkley, and the offensive line, I think, is much improved in the run game for the Giants. I don't know why they're not letting this guy just take over games. Enough of the RPOs. It should stop giving your quarterback an option. Hand the ball off.
You know what's interesting here is all these coaches do fall in love with the stats of your quarterback because that probably means that you're going to get pay raises, things are going to happen, you're going to get spotlighted, you're going to get more love because your quarterback can throw the ball all over the yard. But we've been saying this on this show for a long time. When the games matter, in December, in January, when games matter, it goes through the running back, goes through the offensive line, and it goes through the defense. That's just what it is. The rest of the season, these teams that look like they're bad all of a sudden, it feels like they're trying to force their quarterback to make plays, force their team to be a throwing team whenever they just don't have it. There's only a couple quarterbacks that can win the game completely with their arm. I mean, we all know that. There's only a few of them, and Aaron Rodgers is one of them, but they even have a running game now. It never made sense to me that people don't show enough respect to the run game because that's how you win the big games in a winner, just like you said.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder how many of these coaches are playing fantasy football. They're trying to pad their own stats. I always had a little theory too. You mentioned, coaches, you get a pay raise. Well, look, that's the way you get a job. Like nobody goes out and hires a coach because, man, they led the league in rushing the last 2 years. No, you go out because, if your quarterback has a 350-yard passing game and throws for 4 touchdowns, it was a great game plan by the offensive coordinator. If you go out and you have 250 yards rushing and your offensive line has just mantled the front, they give credit to the O-line and the running back. They don't talk about, well, it was a great scheme. Case in point, Greg Roman. Greg Roman, look what he did with the 49ers, that run game back when it was Alex Smith and then Colin Kaepernick. They went to the Super Bowl, and guess what? They couldn't win the big game. He kind of disappeared. Now he's resurfaced in Baltimore, but people aren't talking about Greg Roman like they are Sean McVay and Andy Reid and all these offensive gurus.
Egos and pride are a real thing in everything. And getting credit is something that everybody thinks about, even if it's a coaching position, which is very highly regarded. Before I let you go, and I'm so thankful that you joined us, you can see Sean O'Hara, by the way, on NFL Network. You can follow him at Sean O'Hara 60. That's Sean with a U. And what'd you say?
Sorry, man. I'm navigating traffic over here. I had to prevent an accident right there. we almost went the wrong way. We almost went back into the Lincoln Tunnel and come back into the city. That's what the Felix did.
Thursday Night Football continues tonight with Redskins Vikings on Fox, NFL Network, and Amazon Prime Video. Before I let you go here, before you die in a car crash in New York City, Sean, thanks for everything you've done for the society and football before you pass. But the offensive line for the Colts is something that I absolutely love as a Colts fan. We never had one with Peyton. We never had one. We had a good one with Peyton, but it was never like our bell cow. We never had one with Andrew Luck. It forced him into retirement early. Here now, we have an offensive line that can control games. And I said, because we have that for the first time, because we have a quarterback like Jacoby Brissett who can make every play, in a defense that is hungry, young, and swarming, it has all the makings to be a team that can make a long run into the playoffs, can really go deep. I've said they're going to win a Super Bowl just strictly because that makes me feel better and be happy if they do. But what do you see out of this Colts offensive line, this Colts team, that potentially makes them different than years past Colts?
Pat, I love it. They're one of my favorite teams to turn on the film on Monday morning. Obviously, Big Q, he's the one that I'm always spotlighting, a Jersey boy from Red Bank. I got a chance to talk to him when he was coming out, and just what an awesome kid. But you mentioned, Peyton and the offensive line of old. Look, Ryan Diem, he would slap you right now if he heard you say they didn't have a good offensive line. I know. Tarek Glenn and Jeff Sutter are coming. They're going to be waiting for you outside the door.
I know. What? Hold on, no, Sean, let me clear this up. So
I'm right now.
All right. Yeah, but I'm friends with those guys. We never relied on the offensive line. It was always an offense where the offensive line had to do their job to protect 18. But it feels like now the Colts are almost winning games with the offensive line. So shout out to Jeff Saturday, Deem, Lilja, Charlie Johnson, Tarek Glenn, everybody like that. But it never felt like the offensive line was winning games. It was always like Peyton. Now the offensive line is literally like winning games for them, it feels like.
I love it, man. For a kicker, you got a hell of a back pedal. Nicely done. I think when you talk about the scheme, I get what you were saying. It was the spirit of the offense. It was totally different, and the visual that comes to mind is Jeff and Peyton going out on the sideline. Hey, can we run the ball? And it's like, hey, man, you just block, all right? And it's like Peyton saying, he started. They have their little throw on. But it's true. They were a pass first offense. Even with Edgerrin James, it was, it was never about the run game. This offensive line, to your point, is totally different. They're not just running the football. They're not just blocking people. They're punishing people. I call Quentin Nelson the Punisher. But the biggest change, and this started last
in theaters.
Love you guys. Gonna miss everyone next year. College will be stressful. Way more than I expected. My friends will have pills. I'll take Oxy to feel better. No one will tell me how addictive they are. I'll be in and out of treatment. It'll be a nice reunion though. Most of the people here tonight will be at my funeral. How's that?
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth.